face.
I do. Hopefully you can hear us. I don't think it's going to be too muffled. It seems to be picking up pretty good on the microphone and getting a pretty hot signal. So.
Cool.
And you can always try the subtitles that pops up with YouTube, the automatic, a little bit, a little bit.
It'll be easier than reading the subtitles to Hamilton.
Oh, you did that?
I had to do that.
That had to have been so fast. Just
you have no idea. Like, you can't pay attention
like
to
half
anything.
the screen is paragraph.
It's an ADD nightmare.
So this is our first video recording session since everything went down.
All of this.
First time. It's good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to be playing guitar again.
Oh yeah.
Because if you work, you don't play guitar.
Yep.
So, modulation video, huh?
Hey, bro. Do you modulate?
I do modulate a lot. So I do modulate, bro. And amongst these pedals here that we've got clambered together, we got 7 different modulation tones that I think we should go over. The basics, if I can remember all of them, being chorus, vibrato, phaser. Then you have tremolo, Univibe, Rotary, and also Flanger. All of them can have different properties and similar properties. Just now, noticed that I was doing the wrong thing with the wrong pedal, but it sounded close enough to where I didn't even notice because I'm the one doing it.
No, I agree. That's been my thing too. I was like, I can't. I know phase and flange are different, but even growing up with my RP 20 and having those two, you
can dial them in to get close, and that's the fun thing about combining them, but also understanding the differences. So first we're going to go over a simple one. We got chorus. Now what chorus is letting you know is that it's the natural chorusing sound of two similar sounds singing just slightly in and out, kind of like if you had a chorus of people. They're not going to be exactly on pitch, so it adds a little bit of a wobble, a little bit of thickness to the sound, and a little more shimmer even, depending on how you set these. A's sounds, that's chorus pedal. A lot of guitar players, turned them on and left it on. Andy Summers from The Police, Alex Lifeson from Rush, even into the 90s sounds of Nirvana, Typo Negative. We'll flash them up if you don't know who that is. They turned it on and leaving it on. So chorus is basically just a little bit of pitch shifting with a smidge of delay that allows the sound to either sound like a double track guitar, thickening sound, a shimmering kind of 12-string sound, to even wobbly vibrato and Leslie-esque sounds at its most extreme setting. So what we've got here is the Boss CE2W HOSA, which replicates their original circuit of the CE1, and it will also act as our vibrato pedal too, because it has the nice circuit built in for that too, and it's less cramped because we didn't have to add another pedal to this board.
Yeah, and on the side note, Joe, I just want to compliment you on how nice. This is probably the nicest setup. It's so organized, and the cables look really good. So I just want to, it looks great, Joe.
And as a good segue to that, or from that, rather, is that a lot of modulation sounds good at the end of a chain, but you might notice that our phaser here is in front of it. So we'll go over that a little bit too when we get to that pedal. But order does matter. There's no right or wrong, but you will get a different sound depending on which order you put these in. The first one, chorus, I think always sounds better after drive pedals. So guitar, drive, or amp sound, and then your chorus afterwards, because it's just a smoother sound. It doesn't muddy up the overdrive as badly.
So you tend to go chorus and then into your delay and then reverb?
I do, but there's people that do it differently. And for this is just going to be a different video, so just ignore this.
Well, yeah, but just as far as signal path.
This is how I would put. This is how mine are on my board, at least. So.
Cool.
With this sound, first thing we should note is that this is our kind of clean tone. Using the new studio, Epiphone Les Paul Studio, with the different combinations of coil taps and volume you can do. We're going into our Pro Jr.
Yeah.
Cheating. Pro Jr IV Limited. Yeah. It's cool. Yeah. It's red. It sounds great, and it may be the only amp you ever need.
And I'll show you a picture of the settings.
Two knobs, so.
Dose, we like dose knobs.
Anyway, so we'll never get this done if I don't quit talking about it. So again, here's our kind of clean tone for this example. We should use a little bit of overdrive because that's the sound. So if you want the Alex Lifeson sound, chorus pedal. So what that's doing is just adding a little bit of delay to the sound with a little bit of pitch shifting, and it's going to add to the shimmery kind of subtleness to it. Sounds good. Lead tone. Turn it off. Here's it without it. So that just adds a little bit to that sound, a little bit of wobble. It
definitely reminds me of some Kurt Cobain.
Oh yeah, and
like that sound is.
And as an example, we'll ramp up the rate a little. That's more of a subtle chorus. If you ramp up the rate a little bit.
Okay.
That shimmery wash of sound, and you can really ramp up the rate. It starts to get a little wobblier, which will lead to the next tone of vibrato. Now, there's a lot of confusion about that because of Fender. Now, vibrato is the change of pitch. It's not a change in
volume.
Volume. So a lot of people get the tremolo, vibrato. Which one's on the amp? Which one's on the guitar? Tremolo is amplitude, volume. This is pitch. So you're going to hear a wobble in the pitch. All the way up to like alien stuff. And that's changing the pitch, actually.
Yeah, you can definitely, you're definitely not hearing it ever cut out in volume.
Similar tone, again, we'll switch back to our chorus. So think of it as vibrato is more like chorus with less of the depth, but more of the rate ramped up, so it's going to wobble a little bit more. And that's vibrato. It's going to have different tones, and you can sound weird. Or very similar to a chorus. A lot of people like using vibrato pedals as chorus pedals, or vice versa. So very close to the same sound, sort of interchangeable, but very different tones when you get down to the meat and potatoes of it.
Just a caveat too on the thing, you also see a lot of acoustic players use chorus.
Oh, absolutely.
And my question is, do you think it's to get? Well, it's definitely going to make the guitar sound fuller, almost give it a not necessarily a 12-string type sound, but
I think a lot of them do use it for that, though. I mean, even I've tried to simulate a 12-string sound with the chorus to great effect, and it does give you that sound. But I think a lot of acoustic players like it either because it thickens up the tone and adds like a second guitarist, or it sounds like a little bit. It sounds more Hotel California. It sounds more 12-stringy kind of vibe to it. So let's turn this guy off. Another simple one, because of its amount of knobs and my love of it, is the phaser pedal. Now the way this works is it works similarly to the chorus and things, and can give you similar tones, but this one is a lot swooshier. The way it works is it actually sweeps the frequency range, so your treble, your bass, your mid frequencies, things like that, and it gives it that kind of swooshing, swirling kind of sound. Similar to David Gilmour or the big one we have here. Take a guess at whose this belongs to. So, and this is the one modulation pedal where I will say it sounds better in front of drives.
Okay.
Because if you reverse the order, it tends to just make a drive or overdrive or distortion sound like a fuzz, because it just kind of combs through the sound and just, you don't hear the swoosh. So if you want that Van Halen sound, you want to put your drive after your phaser, and that's what's going to get you the swirling Van Halen tone. That is your Van Halen in a box tone right there. At higher rates, it gets more wobbly, more like a Leslie or vibrato. To me, that's instant Nazareth, instant 70s rock tone. And I love it too, because on the fly, when you have your feet available, you can also ramp it up and down with your foot. Get that alien nastiness happening. And it sounds good. It's a simple effect.
And that's Uno knob. That's not even DOS knobs.
We might flash up the original Phase 90 that I use. It's the same thing minus the script button. And
it's orange.
It's orange. It's good. It looks cool, and it's a staple. So go buy one. Next, I guess Flanger.
Yeah, let's do some flange. Yeah, because flange, I get phase when you. When it comes to the phase and then the flange, which you start hearing them together, I have trouble with these. So. And
I made that mistake a minute ago because the go-to there's two go-to songs for describing. This is what Flanger is. One being Barracuda by Heart.
Yes.
Which I just played with a phase pedal a second ago.
See.
They're so interchangeable sometimes. It depends on how you set them. But flange is going to simulate the sound of flanging a tape. That's where the sound comes from. It's from taking two tapes. And a lot of these are the same way, where it's two signals, one sent one way dry and one sent the other way wet. And then the effect happens. And they mix back together to create the overall sound. Flange is to simulate the old tape flanging that they would do by literally pressing their finger on a tape and then, I guess, recording two signals together, one being flange and the other one being the dry original tape. It's going to add that jet plane swoosh kind of sound. So think Jake E. Lee's sound on like Bark at the Moon. Think, Barracuda by Heart. Think a lot of the clean tones from Metallica. Or sound like chorus, but I think actually used a lot of times. It's going to be a flanger, and maybe even mixed with the old jazz chorus, because those guys like to use that amp for clean stuff. And why not use that chorus circuit as well? It's the same one built into the CE1 circuit of the CE2W. Whoa. So if you're looking for that classic chorus that Boss kind of helped invent with Roland, that's your ticket.
Very cool.
Good vibrato too. But flanger, swooshing jet plane tone. We'll get hopefully our handy expression factory that's going to cover a lot more of our tones. We'll do it. It's a great pedal if you ever find one. The flanger on here simulates the old ADA flanger, which that's like one of the most famous flangers, I guess. Analog, digital, analog, I think is ADA. I don't know if that means the same thing. But the ADA flanger, it's your jet plane swooshing tone. That's the sound. The other big example is the Unchained lick from the Van Halen. That's so more traditional.
Not phase, that was flange.
So if you change it back, you get more. You can make all kinds of interesting sounds depending on how you set that rate, which on this pedal is done with the treadle, so you can ramp it up, sweep it down, whatever you like. But yes, clean tones. It sounds good as a chorus. Sounds a little colder, more ominous to me than the standard chorus does. So that's flanger. If you want jet plane swoosh, that's your sound.
Yeah, it's to me. I mean, I know it could be
jet plane swoosh.
But jet plane swoosh.
Next one we got here is, let's see, dip and make sure I got it on the right one. Univibe. Now, not to be confused with Vibrato, because they are a different sound. Univibe is one guitar effect that is another kind of Leslie style. You're going for the rotating speaker sound, which we'll also go over. Guitarists call it Rotary because we have pedals and we're not going to lug around an actual Leslie.
Yeah. No.
Simulates that kind of rotating speaker sound, but to my ears, a Univibe also has a very almost phaser quality.
Okay.
So again, these are where one effect ends, another one begins. Just like kind of chorus bleeds into Univibe, chorus, flanger bleeds into chorus. I feel that Univibe sound similar to a phaser, just with less swoosh.
Mm-hmm.
So less of that kind of jet plane kind of sound, but it's a lot of that same kind of, it almost adds a little bit of a grit to your tone. So think, Hendrix, the Robin Trower kind of tones.
Hendrix for sure,
It can add a subtle sweep to chords and a little bit of texture. In that case, it barely even sounds like it's on, but I swear it is. At this setting, it has a good texture to lead. So if you're ever wanting your lead tone to pop out of a mix, it's so subtle you won't even know it's there. Of course, at higher settings,
on Jimmy's bends.
if you ramp it up as you bend, it's a really cool sound. It's hard to do like this, but you get the idea. If you think Stevie Ray Vaughan, Robin Trower, Jimi Hendrix, I'm pretty sure all those cats have used some sort of Univibe effect of some sort. And at higher settings, it does sound like a phaser or like a rotary type of tone. Which is very cool. Can also be used to, I feel like in a pinch, if I couldn't take my phaser and this, I would take this and kind of simulate my phaser sounds with the Univibe setting. So the next, and one that's also very similar, is the actual rotary speaker sound. This is going to simulate the Leslie sound. It's a rotating speaker, not to get too technical, but basically it's got like a drum and a break, and keyboard players love them. It just adds like this three-dimensional, swirly, almost overdriven texture, and it really can add a little bit of overdrive. A lot of Leslie rotary type of effects will have a separate overdrive circuit to simulate that breakup that you get when you do actually use a real cabinet. This is a lot more portable. Then this doesn't. And it doesn't require any kind of
special. Weigh over 100
pounds.
pounds.
It doesn't weigh 100 pounds. Doesn't require a separate, also not guitar friendly amplifier in order to produce the sound. And it's been made famous for all kinds of different things. You got, classic stuff from like Zakk Wylde, where he would use the rotary sounds. Pink Floyd have used these kind of tones. It's just a good alternative to your standard chorus or your standard phaser sound, and a more clean tone. I'm thinking instantly like Skinner. Almost sounds like you're playing your guitar through an organ, because it can add that little bit of churn. Churn is a good word for that. It's a good descriptive adjective.
It's churning.
Churning. Again, this is on a clean amp, so you can hear that it's adding a little bit of grit even to this neck pickup. And to me, that right there, that little bit of extra wobble is the rotary sound of, So that is your rotary sound. It's going to add that kind of gurgling, churning. Let's turn it all the way up. That chord sounds good with it. Where's it going? So there's your rotary sound. Big speak about how all that works, but go look it up. Let's see if I can turn this up. Alright, finally, I think we got all the other ones.
Yeah.
Tremolo. Now, again, not to be confused with vibrato. Amps make that difficult for people to understand, but remember, tremolo is going to be a variation in amplitude or volume, not pitch.
Right.
So vibrato is pitch. If your Fender amp says vibrato, it's not. It's tremolo. And just like your guitars, tremolo is not a tremolo. It controls pitch.
Correct.
Therefore making it a vibrato. They're interchangeable names, but trust me, if you want to get your point across, tell people the right thing.
Yes.
Tremolo is going to be... I'm going to let you mess with them, because this is Rick's pedal. So let's switch over to Rick, because he knows this thing better than I do.
Line up.
And he could probably do better with tremolo licks, because I don't. So, but this is going to give you a fluctuation of volume. You got a tone. You got volume coming through. Okay, cool. We hooked it up right. Tremolo is going to, a classic example of the tremolo to me. First thing I think of is the Smiths, Johnny Marr, How Soon Is Now. Great use of tremolo. More modern version, I guess, even though it's probably 20 years old now. Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Green Day has that tremolo that's very distinct on it. What else could I think of? Tremolo.
I always think a lot of
Surf
Petty.
Rock, Tom Petty, 60s music,
sure,
anything like that. Tremolo all day. So
yeah, here just.
To all the way choppy, but you can hear it's affecting the volume, not the pitch, not the frequency, but just the volume. So, volume, pitch, frequency. They all sweep it in a certain way, but that is the basic differences between those three, at least. Besides all the other things.
Yeah.
You can write about it in the comments if you like. Tell us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Help us be more accurate.
We want to be accurate. We wouldn't want not to be accurate.
Corrupt.
So. You can get nice choppy sounds. Oh, Tom Morello is the other guy.
Yeah.
Tom Morello, I believe, has a lot of those sounds where whether or not he actually uses a trem pedal for that, that's the sound he's imitating. A lot of the times when it's get those choppy, stuttering effects. I think the beginning of Cochise was him using a trem pedal maybe and flicking stuff, and he's a genius. Guy's an underrated guitar player, but tremolo can do some cool stuff. So I'll quit talking and let Rick play you something.
Let's see.
We have a tap on here. Let's see. I'll try a slower setting if I can get it to go slow.
This thing also will ramp up.
Ah, okay.
So, yeah, it's kind of
well, then
cool.
you heard the differences
Yeah,
because it went from slow to fast.
You can do it to where it'll ramp slower or ramp faster.
It's about as slow as I think I can get it to go. What I like about some of these effects too is that, especially with this one, you can hear how when you're playing your single notes and things, you're not noticing the effect, but when you let it ring out, that's when you really hear it, which is kind of cool because some people won't be able to figure out how you do it. It's like, no, it was on the whole time. You just didn't hear it because I was busy playing, and then when
some people leave it on all the time for certain songs.
it works. So I don't know if we do something choppier. Got a choppy sound.
Let's see if we do delta.
This is what I call choppy chop. This is one of my favorite kind of sounds because it's that very stuttering Johnny Marr, Green Day kind of. So get.
Yeah, I think I've kind of got it set to where it doesn't go all the way out like that.
That's fine.
Let's see. Because what's cool is you can hold down. It's like Strymon before, like you can hold down this and then adjust some of the hidden features, which can be the amount of like square to triangle, depending on what kind of.
And it has bats on it, which is super cool.
It's cool. It's a cool pedal.
Anything with bats on it is always the coolest. Very country western. can hit some delay and get some of those sounds happening. Let's see. That sounded cool. So we explained tremolo, chorus, vibrato, rotary, flanger, Univibe, and phaser. Now, we and you should be totally caught up on how to effectively get those sounds and which modulation effects to use. I recommend getting one of each.
Well, yeah, especially now. I mean, you got the Mod 11 from EHX that has them all in there. There's the great
the Boss, the Mod, probably the MD200.
The MD200 was really good. Not to mention our Nooks.
Nooks makes some good stuff.
What was that one that? Remember?
No.
It was basically had all the mods. We're actually going to use that and just have
yeah, I do. I just can't remember what it's called though. Yeah, God, that thing was great. Yeah, which UX, hit us up. Tell us.
I'll put the pedal up here, just so you know.
Get us more of those, because I think you discontinued it, and I'm really upset about
that. That's right. It was a used one that we got.
Because it was super cool, and it was totally cheap and awesome, and I think it had almost every one of these effects.
It really did.
So if you're trying to dip your toe into, hit us up for some Nux stuff. Maybe we can get them to bring that back out of retirement if it hasn't been retired, because that thing's super cool.
Yeah, that did sound good.
Cover all your bases with one excellent stereo pedal.
Like I said, and so you don't have to have 7 individual pedals. You can get some really good.
You should.
I mean, yeah, it's fun.
It is. And then you can combine them in different ways, and this will get you those different sounds to nail those tones, or even come up with your own new tones.
Yeah, try them before, try them after drives, try and play with them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I think that'll be it for that, and yeah.
All right. Well, I'm Rick.
I have terrible posture. See you later.